This is where the tension for the movie is for me. I understand this. I don't know. We're all seeing two different things.
I get that too. At the same time, there was this basic thing as far as that conflict goes, where he's like, "Hey, I need you to play these players like I told you to. All right, I need you to give me a longer contract. Yeah, just do what I said." It's like, okay, this conflict could be resolved real easily, and yet he's not moving on it.
I thought Brad Pitt's character was being patient, just to prove a point in a way. Let's go, okay, I'll let you do it your way. Let's see what happens. Oh, you failed again. Well, you know what? I'm going to give you a suggestion. How about you do it this way? Oh, you want to fight? All right, that's fine. Go ahead. Lose it again. I love that shit. I love that shit.
I do too.
And I loved how it's played in this movie. And that is, despite who we want to point out as the bad guys or whatever.
Jesus
the
Christ.
Thing is that
why did you even say that?
I know, right? They're like incapable of even understanding the allegory.
I'm sorry. This isn't a comic book movie. I understand it's on another realm. It's another realm of film here. But the thing is, where it does set out its goals to achieve what it's trying to say with this film, it does. Granted, I'm curious how audiences are going to take this, because I think a lot of audiences are going to go in thinking that it's going to be like a Major League or something, just because the trailer kind of plays it up, or it's going to be like a quirky type comedy. But it's a very slow, very thoughtful, and at the same time, I thought a very involved film dealing with the behind the scenes of baseball, as far as like the Oakland A's period, which is, I mean, I remember Oakland A's were winning all those winning streaks. I never thought about it because I didn't care. Watching this movie, I was like, wow. I kind of wish I could have seen all those games happen, only because to watch this movie, it's like, it's just a cool, great story that, I'm glad they turned it into a movie, because I thought it was interesting.
It's a very methodic approach to the movie, too. I mean, it is dealing with numbers. So I would totally understand if people say it's not moving at the pace that they want it to. Again, it may come down to marketing, because it is Brad Pitt's face all over a sports film, and people are going to go in there expecting like something a little faster.
Especially Jonah Hill. Jonah Hill, you see him
laughs.
And you think, yeah, okay, it's a baseball movie with Jonah Hill.
Brad Pitt is the strongest thing here, let's face it. I mean, he really is. And as usual, he delivers, because he is a really damn good actor. That guy's just made out of charisma. I mean, he's fantastic in whatever he's in, and he is what held this together for me at all. Because every time he's just, they have him playing that character, you're like, okay. And as I said earlier, I didn't say we didn't know anything about him. I said we didn't know enough about him. Okay.
I understood that. You said you didn't know enough about him to care.
But I said that the things that they did give didn't add up to making him that interesting of a character in the context of everything else that we were sitting through. Which, like I said, is when I watch sports films, and I tend to love sports films, even though I don't tend to love sports, it's because they're not really about the sports. They're about the human heart. They're about people. This is not about people at all. This is about sports. And that's fine for people who really love sports, because all this is about is the science behind it, and I just don't care about that.
I totally see. Again, I hear what you're saying. I think that you just are, that you're not seeing it. You're not seeing the emotion that's in there. But that's just me. I will say this much. It could have been an even slower film.
I don't think so. I'm kidding.
They pulled. You remember what we said the other day, where, like, if what's his name is around,
Terrence Malick.
No, if Brad. Well, I can understand that. No, if Brad Pitt or if George Clooney is around, who's around?
Steven Soderbergh.
Yeah, Steven Soderbergh was supposed to direct this at one time.
Was he?
Yeah,
and it totally had that feel.
And yeah, it did. And he wanted to like intertwine scenes of some of the real life people who in the movie, interviews with them and everything, in the studio said, all right, we don't care who you are, get the fuck on out of here. And that's
too bad. I would have liked that. I think I might have even liked that better.
Yeah. I mean, I think that would have, for this kind of movie, I don't want to have the story interrupted. Now, who knows what kind of movie it could have been. I'm just saying that this could have been an even more different film that took you out of the film and out of the characters had another director been on there.
I don't know about you guys, but when they do that, when they show like the real characters and then they'll show the actors again, that always takes me out of the movie.
Yeah, me too.
It really does. I get annoyed.
You're right. It does. But having interviews with maybe not those characters or those people, just giving it more historical context.
I'm fine with showing that shit at the end of the credits, because I can leave and whatever.
You don't want your illusion spoiled.
I gotta look at this. Yeah.
You know what I mean? That thing in there. That's not Brad Pitt.
You know what, man? We're all. I don't know about all. You got the two camps of people here. You got wrong and right. And I'm just messing with y'all. You know,
you guys can be right next time.
no, we're right this time. You know, we'll let you be right next time. I'm just messing around. I mean, again, one of those things where it's that kind of movie where, through this approach, not everybody's going to see the same thing. Not everybody's going to agree on the same thing. I clearly did like this movie better than you guys did. I did think that the emotion was there. I felt the struggle of this man, Mr. Bean, Mr. Billy Bean, and I felt for him and everything that he was trying to do. I very much like the approach to this. And I think the script, as far as the dialogue is written, is amazing. The original script was written by
Aaron Sorkin.
Aaron Sorkin, yeah, and it was taken and written by somebody else. But I can guarantee you, a lot of the dialogue in here he's responsible for it. And I enjoyed this very much, man. It's a different kind of sports film that succeeds despite of that, and I'll give this a full price.
Okay, well, I never went into this expecting anything like Major League. I expected maybe one of the better sports movies, For the Love of the Game, or The Natural, something on that level. And it's even different from that because it is about the behind the scenes, not about watching the actual players play. There's a lot about this movie that I genuinely appreciate. Like you say, we've talked a lot about Brad Pitt, although I suppose I would have felt more emotion that he never seemed all that anguished. I mean, with so much on the line, he threw chairs around a lot. It's like he seemed to only express himself by throwing chairs, but never seemed to be in the kind of anguish I would expect somebody in that position.
It's like you back in the day, Corey.
But
He got it from me.
but at the same time, it is his movie, lots of charisma. I was really impressed by Jonah Hill. As much as I've been making fun of him, I was like, wow, he's not playing Jonah Hill this time. And every time he's on, everything he says, it really works.
He was great.
He almost steals the movie. Mm-hmm. And there's so much about the behind it, the workings of it that are interesting in a way. And yet, for 2.5 hours of it, I was like, all right, I ultimately don't care that much. And with baseball being the boring sport that it is, it's leaking over into this movie. There's just a pacing issue that just doesn't work for me. And hey, for people who like sports or especially love baseball, there's people who love baseball, they love baseball. And I think they will love this movie. And there's guys like you who like baseball and you found it works for you. And for me, I was like, you know what? I care up to a point. And yet this is dragging on longer than I have the capacity to be with it. Still, for all the things I appreciate out of it, I still give it a matinee.
I agree with you completely with the saying people who really love baseball, just like it's in their heads, it's all they think about. And we know people like that.
Oh, absolutely.
We know lots of people. I used to work in bars. I know hundreds of people like that who go to 7-Eleven to buy the magazines with all the stats and just sit and read them in highlight sections. You're like, what are you doing, dude?
Stop lying, Cyrus. You don't know those people.
Hey, man, remember, I used to work in a bar. Yeah. I do know those people.
You never
came in every single day and made me turn off my shows and watch the stupid game.
Yeah, right after the Rangers lost and they beat their wives, they were right at the bar. Get drunk.
Hey, man, I don't want to talk
telling Cyrus how they beat their wives.
I'll tell you some names later after we're done. But yeah, this thing, for me, who doesn't care at all about that, this thing was, wow. I mean, I was laughing at one point picturing those like science documentaries where the guy goes to Antarctica, seeing this big wall of ice. He goes, I know it looks like this glacier is just standing still, but it's actually moving at 1.5 foot a day. You're like, yep, just like this movie. It's moving, but it's almost imperceptible to the human eye.
How dare you?
It's 2.5 hours long almost. I don't think quite, but it feels like there's enough good stuff here. There's enough snappy dialogue. There's enough distinctive Aaron Sorkin moments where you're like, wow, yeah, this is totally Sorkin-esque dialogue, and it's great that it keeps bringing you back into it, but then it keeps losing you again. If this had been like an hour and a half, I probably would have really liked it. But as it was, I can't give it any more than like a high rental.
Well, yeah. I mean, Leon, you pretty much said a lot what I wanted to say. So just rewind it and listen to what Leon said. But the thing is that, I mean, I'm not a fan of baseball, really. When I walked in here, I wasn't necessarily looking forward to it. I'm like, Brad Pitt's in it. I'm looking forward to seeing his performance. I was blown away. I mean, him and Jonah Hill together were fantastic. And you're right. Jonah Hill is not playing Jonah Hill. That guy can actually, he has some fucking talent in him, along with other things. But the thing is that he really
does a Big Mac.
He really performed his ass off in this. And me not being a fan of baseball, I wouldn't even give a shit about picking up a baseball to read behind the scenes. This movie got me involved in it. I mean, that's the thing. And I think anyone who's not a fan of sports or baseball or anything, I think if you're a fan of film, you will appreciate this, especially with that fucking snappy ass dialogue. I mean, it is great. It's quotable. It's memorable. I wish there was even more of that because, yeah, I mean, I will admit there's a part where there's a little lull in the film, but for me, it was only like for a few minutes, and then it got back into it as far as just seeing these guys try to struggle with their idea, trying to prove everyone wrong, and I love that. I love that. And I was rooting for the underdogs in this film, and I love that. So I'm going to give it a full price. I hope Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill. I hope somebody looks at that and looks at these guys and go, wow, they fucking acted their ass off. I applaud them. Thank God, they're not just pretty boys. Yeah, Jonah Hill too.
Wow.
Well, especially Jonah. Yeah. Come on.
One thing I was thinking about, you said how you watch this movie, you wish you'd seen those 20 games that Oakland A's had that winning streak. I'm like, no, you wouldn't. Sitting through 20 baseball games, look, they wrapped it up in 10 minutes. Just be happy with that.
You can sit there and say what you want to. Co-host, my statistics say I need to replace these two right here. They're pulling the team down. I think I need to replace you with Leon with a chimp in a wheelchair.
A chimp in a wheelchair?
A chimp and a shrimp. All right, chimp. You I'm going to replace with a tin can.
Oh, man.
And in his first review, he's going to rip your nuts off.
With that tin can, can we put googly eyes on it? Because I always love googly eyes.
Yes, we can.
You've already got a tin can with googly eyes on it.
Your goal shouldn't be to buy players. Your goal should be to buy wins. And in order to buy wins, you need to buy runs.
Who are you?
I'm Peter Brand.
First job in baseball?
It's my first job anywhere.
What is happening in Oakland?
It defies everything we know about baseball.
Just plain crazy.
If we win with this team, we'll change the game. This better work. I'm just kidding.